So we've talked about how transformers work at a lower level. We'll see how it comes all together shortly, but what are some applications of these things? Well, one is obviously chat, like Chat GPT, but transformers by themselves aren't really the entire piece of the puzzle there. It's just the base that we build chat applications on top of. So although transformers are good at generating text and completing previous text that was given to it, you still need to train it on how to actually hold a conversation, right? And how to say things that aren't toxic, right? Things like that. So there are additional layers you need to build on top of a transformer like GPT to turn it into something like Chat GPT. And we'll talk in more detail about how that works soon. You can also use it for question answering. So you could feed it a question and then some sort of token that says, I want you to start generating an answer. And the training, if you gave it, a data set of questions and valid answers, would figure that out over time. So one application is just simple Q&A. Give it a question, some sort of token that says, I want you to start generating an answer, and let it start generating an answer. That works. You can also use it for text classification. You don't have to use transformers just to generate more text. You could actually put a layer on top of it that just says, I want to classify this thing into one of many classes, right? For example, sentiment analysis. I could just have a transformer whose only job is to process a bunch of language coming into it, like from a tweet or a movie review or whatever it might be, and apply its large language model to understand the true meaning of what's being said there. And out comes the other end, just positive, negative, or neutral, right? It could be that simple. It can also be used for things called named entity recognition, where if somebody's talking about something you're particularly interested about, it will flag that, if you will. It will tag the things that that person's talking about, specific people, specific brand names, specific objects, whatever it might be. And since people might be referring to those using different language or different names, the magic of the transformer is to recognize that and see what people are really talking about, right? So boil these things down to their final embedding that encapsulates what they're really talking about. And maybe there's some entities in there that you want to recognize and pull out and name as a part of that process. It can also be used for summarization. You could train a transformer on how to take a long article and summarize it into a smaller article if you just gave it some examples of how to do so. That works too. So in that case, your inputs would be the tokens associated with a longer article, some token that says, I want you to summarize this, and its job would be to take those remaining tokens that it has available to process and produce a summarized version of what you gave it. Obviously, it can be used for translation. That's the example we've been using throughout the course so far in this section. Give it language in one language and some token that says, I want you to translate it to some other language and let it go do its thing. Code generation. Languages don't have to be spoken by humans. It can also be Python or Java or C++, whatever it might be, right? So you could actually create a transformer that says, I want you to write code to write a transformer, and it could actually figure out how to write code that might do that. That's probably a little bit too complicated for transformers in their current state, but you get the idea. It's just another language at the end of the day. Also, obviously, text generation, but there are some specific exciting applications of that, right? So imagine that you have a large language model and you tune it further on all of your past emails and how you responded to them, right? So you could train this model on how to respond to emails and sound like you. Similarly, you could train it on transcripts of past customer service calls to your company and have it play the role of a customer service agent that sounds a lot like a real one. Now, it is a little bit too easy to do that, right? So there are some pitfalls, obviously, if you're going to be employing a bot to sound like you and your bot is committing you to do things that you don't know about. That's not going to end well, right? So if you have a customer service bot that says, sure, I'll take care of that for you, we'll send you out a new one tomorrow, and nobody actually sends a new one because no one was paying attention to what the bot said, that's not going to be a good customer experience, right? So we'll talk about ethics later, but you really got to be careful about how these things are used. A lot of people are applying transformers in this way and are very exuberant about it. There's sort of a gold rush going on, but you got to think about the customer experience at the end of the day, right? Are you actually building a better experience for your customers by employing this technology? Oftentimes the answer is no, or you're doing something they don't care about, right? And that's just wasted effort. So it's a tool, it's a powerful tool, but how you wield the tool is very important.